you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our afternoon plenary session. Thank you. My name is Kim Gruey. I'm a member of the Open Education Conference Board, and I also am an instructional designer at Northern Virginia Community College, Nova Online. I also work in California community colleges in the ZTC TAP program, and I'm very proud of the Open Free Anti-Racism program now in its 6th year that I'm also part of. Thank you. We're honored to continue our program with a keynote from a national leader who keeps students at the center of every decision, Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid, Louisiana's Commissioner of Higher Education. Dr. Reid is a powerful voice for access, affordability, and student success, working to strengthen pathways from education to meaningful careers, expand opportunities for today's learners, and align policy with the needs of communities and employers. She's previously led the Colorado Department of Higher Ed, and she served in President Obama's administration as Deputy Undersecretary at the U.S. Department of Education, where she led the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Her leadership reminds us that when we keep our eyes on the horizon, we can design systems that are more inclusive, more responsive, and built to last. Without further ado, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid.
Good afternoon. Oh, you guys are quiet. Good afternoon. I mean, you get a double Kim right now. What more do you want, right? What more do you want? Let me tell you about this phenomenal woman I've had a chance to visit with just a few moments. Since 7th grade, knew she wanted to be a teacher. And now it is a reality that she's teaching and supporting and doing amazing things. And so I'm really honored to be able to sit with her. And it reminds me how important it is to hear people's stories and to ask people about their stories. And so I understand that this is the 2nd year that you're back in person. I'm so happy about that, but I hope that you are meeting new friends and hearing people's stories and sharing your stories as well. So thank you, Kim, for the warm introduction. Thanks to the Open Ed Conference team and the Spark folks who have invited me here to Denver. Very happy to be back in Colorado. I, as was mentioned, led the Colorado Department of Higher Education over a decade ago. It doesn't seem like it has been that long ago, but shout out to the Colorado people in the room and the department people in the room as well. And of course, shout out to the LSU and the Louisiana people in the room. Yes, I don't want to get myself in trouble here. But really, this is a special place. This is a special convening. This is a special community because you too are centered on students and access and opportunity. I am very, very excited as Commissioner of Higher Education to share space with you and to have the opportunity as a mom, as an advocate, as a lifelong person who's been in this space to be in a room with innovators and advocates and moms and people who collectively, all of us, have our eyes on the horizon. And I will tell you, I love your theme. It's hopeful, it's forward-looking, it reminds us, it invites us to collectively look to the future while we work tirelessly in the present. Tirelessly in the present. It's our shared purpose, right? To ensure that there are more doors open that are affordable, accessible, equitable for more people. And that is the promise of higher education, but it is on all of us to make sure that for more people, that promise is realized. Having our eyes on the horizon, of course, means we have our eyes on the prize. Talent development for more people, regardless of their family background, regardless of their income, regardless of their current station, that they have the opportunity through education and training to reach their unlimited potential. That's what eyes on the prize, eyes on the horizon for all of us is all about. It is a call for us to envision a future and to build a future where more people have access to education and training to support themselves and their families, more people who are leadership ready and workforce ready. It's part of our purpose and our possibility to have our eyes on the horizon. You know, and I know, that education is human development. it's community development, it's economic development, it's workforce development, and it is not one of those things, it is all of those things. So we have to stop having an either-or conversation and have a both-and conversation across this country when it comes to the purpose and the promise of education. Now, as I thought about what to say today, and I thought about your amazing theme, the quote that came to me was the Peter Drucker quote that says, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." Right? So we're going to have our eyes on the horizon. We're going to have our eyes on the horizon that we want to see, that we want to build, that we know will make a difference in our states, in our nation, and in other places across the world. And that, my friends, that is our calling, but I want you to know that it requires teamwork. This is not solo work at all. And you know, when times are tough, and I don't think anyone would contradict me when I say that times are tough, it's good, right? It's good to have a team. We see polarizing debates, economic uncertainty, questions about the value of higher education, whether or not we are worth it, whether or not we are centered on the right things, whether or not we're doing the right things. And when we have all of that incoming, it is easy to feel alone and anxious about this work. But when you have a team, when you have some people that you can lean on who have a shared vision and purpose, amazing things will continue to happen. One of the African proverbs I love says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So we are here as a community learning and growing together. The value is in going forward together. I've looked at your conference presentations, amazing presentations, and I looked at some of the titles of these presentations. Choosing your next mountain, tapping into the power of possibilities, creating connections, establishing Z degrees, and more. Hopeful, future-forward topics and future-forward work that each and every one of you are doing. And as you know, none of that work, not one item on this agenda is about me work. It's all about we work, going further and farther together. There is strength in this community. There is wisdom in this community. There's comfort, as I mentioned, in being together, but there's also joy. Joy in hearing the stories, joy in understanding the work that you are doing tirelessly to improve student access and success and connectivity and affordability, joy in the commitment that you have to this work. Your creativity is bringing new solutions. Your collaboration is scaling important work. You, ladies and gentlemen, in this room and in the online community, you are making a difference. And so I'm here first and foremost to say thank you. Thank you for being advocates in tough times. Thank you for committing to this work. Thank you for staying the course. Thank you for showing who we are and what we care about. Making a difference is really what we are called to do. And that's exactly the work that I've had an opportunity, really a blessing to do in Louisiana. I'm in my 8th year as Commissioner of Higher Education in the state. And when I went into the job in my first year, my board said 2 things. We want to be relevant and we need a big vision to get the work done. Same thing that my board in Colorado said. We need a vision and we want to be relevant. And so they gave me a year in Louisiana to build a plan, to build a strategic plan for our state. Louisiana prospers. Our big goal, 60% of our population will have a credential of value by the year 2030. We look at that goal, we center on that goal, and everything is in service to that North Star. And so it helps us to focus our work. We think about a future where we move people from poverty to prosperity. And that is the goal for our state. Here's the challenge, as you know. In America, if you tell me your family background, your parents' education level, I can tell you a lot about your likelihood of being successful, highly correlated. In Louisiana, as I was developing this plan with our amazing rockstar team, 2 facts were front and center. 1, 50% of Louisiana's working population has a high school diploma or less in a knowledge economy that requires much more. 2, 50% of Louisiana's households are asset limited or in poverty. So you can imagine people said to me, are you sure we're going to go from 44% educational attainment to 60% by 2030 when you just told us that in America it's all about family background and education? And so we said our goal is as big, as important as this. We are going to be the first state in America to decouple student success from family background and family education level. We're going to be the first ones to do it, and we're going to show the rest of the country how to do it as well. That is the goal. So yes, we were excited, we were moving forward. Of course, I had some status quo people, right? Some doubters going, yay, no, yay, not gonna happen, right? So we're working to move this work forward. And then what happens? In Louisiana, you know what happens, hurricane, and another hurricane, and another hurricane. The entire coast of Louisiana impacted by hurricanes. And so we do what we do in Louisiana, right? We help people, we feed people, we help get the campuses and housing stock stood back up. We're working to get our momentum moving again. And then what happens? Global pandemic. So we have to keep trying to do this work. And what I have said to my board and to our state and to others is, we don't educate in the environment we wish we had, calm, sunny, predictable, affordable. We educate in the environment we do have, come hell, high water, global pandemic, right? Because people are counting on us. And so we can't say the environment has changed, it's too hard, it's too volatile, people don't like what we're doing, so we're going to use it as an excuse to step away from the work. No, we have to step into the work. We have to work harder. We have to be more committed. We have to be more focused in our persuasive justification, building a broad tent, building a coalition, moving this work forward, and saying for us, failure is not an option. That's the work that we are continuing to do. So we are continuing to move this work forward, and it's important in our states, in our institutions, to show what we are made of. So I have to brag on my Louisiana Lewis team. Where are you all? Raise your hands, the Lewis team. Oh, there we go. Have to brag on my Louisiana Lewis team because they show me every day what they're made of. When times are good, they're doing fantastic work. When times are tough, they are doing amazing work. Give you a couple of examples. One, during the pandemic, people are worried, right? We're locked down, but we're still trying to figure out, is there a way to keep the education moving in a global pandemic? People are trying to figure out how to stay connected to education. No broadband, rural communities in my state, in your state, right? No, people don't have access to what they need to do their work. So the Lewis team puts their head down and they say, we can share where people can park and study. And we're going to figure out where you can park and study, not just in academic libraries, but libraries all the way across Louisiana. And then we're going to get the comms team, and we're going to build a map, and it's going to be interactive, and we're going to put it out for the entire state of Louisiana. And countless students and parents and families benefited because they said, we can solve this problem. We can help. And they did so. They showed us what they were made of. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes. And then 10 years ago, the Board of Regents gave $145,000, a little bit of money, to Lewis and said, demonstrate whether or not institutions can collaborate around this OER e-textbook idea. And so the establishment of the Affordable Learning Program was born. important because affordability is a real thing, right? It's not a lip service thing, it's a real thing. So I was looking at a statistic recently that I think this great team sent to me. 71% of undergraduate students in a survey 2 years ago said they were concerned about having the ability to pay for their academic materials, worried about costs, 71% of the undergraduates that were surveyed. And so obviously all of you are part of that solution. So I'm proud that through the partnerships with OpenEd and building on 2 decades of collaboration and proven work in OER, this team is doing fantastic work. So we looked at what MIT was doing. We looked at what Creative Commons is doing. We looked at what others are doing in this room and beyond. And the results, which I looked at since 2012, are staggering. $72 million in savings. 800,000 students benefiting from their work across Louisiana. Just this year, $15.4 million in savings for 178,000 students. That is what Eyes on the Prize, Eyes on the Horizon looks like. It's good stuff. And today you get to hear more about Louisiana Good Stuff if you come to their presentation at 3:40 p.m. Shameless plug. Hey, I'm here for them, right? I'm here for them. So they're going to talk about the Open Textbook Pilot Program. I won't steal their thunder, but of course the results are very solid. Savings, support for students, improved academic results. And so we are proud of the work that they're doing. We've had federal grants that helped us with OER for dual enrollment and for career services as well. Transformational work. Leadership, that's what leadership looks like. And so I'm very happy, of course, to brag on Louisiana's work. I know the work because the team sits in our office, but I'm also aware that there's good stuff, good leadership happening in this room and with the online community as well. Great things are happening because of you, because of your commitment, because of the work that you are continuing to do to add value, increase affordability, and to center students, even in times that are challenging. So thank you for that good work. The other thing I thought we should talk about a little bit, given your title of your organization, OpenEd, is a conversation about what does it mean to be open, right? We talk about, of course, our doors are open in higher education. We open doors and we open opportunities for more people. But how open are we? Are we open to new ideas in education, in research, and teaching? Are we really open? Are we open to new coalitions? Partnering with new people that perhaps we haven't worked with before, perhaps that we don't know as much about? Are we open to building a bigger tent? Are we open to that? Are we open to critics? Are we open to seeking to listen and to understand what people have to say? And then are we open to this idea of continuous improvement that allows us to take the messages, sometimes hard messages that we hear, and make them actionable so people can say they're listening and they are improving? Are we open to that? Are we open to that? So it is important, I think, for us to have this self-reflection about how open are we? And when we hear critics, do we say to the critics or to each other about the critics, they don't know us and they don't get it? Or are we open to listen, to seek to understand by listening and understanding where they are coming from so that we can articulate our true message, our true work, and so that we can improve on what we are doing? We talk about things being purple politics. I came from working here in Colorado, a purple state, a place where they're demonstrating so much of that work. But if we want to move this work forward, we have to make sure that people on the red side and people on the blue side see themselves in this work, and some magical purple thing happens in the middle. Yes, I'm a Prince fan, I'm gonna tell you. It's all about the purple rain for me, I get that. But we really do have to think about how do we build coalitions that are purple so that our work is durable and lasting, critical for us in our work. Listening to the hardest critics, talking to our biggest champions, finding paths forward. That is work that we have to do. Building relationships. I understand you had a fantastic morning keynote about building relationships and so many other things. So that's work we have to do. But you know, when I go to the legislature, we have supermajority Republican House and Senate, Republican governor. And they engage in these conversations about, are people getting jobs? Are they work ready? What's the relevance? And then they ask about what's happening on campuses. And I visit campuses all the time. In Colorado, I went to every campus, walked every campus. In Louisiana, I've done it multiple times. And I will tell you what I hear from students, which is probably what you hear from students. What I do not hear from students, rarely do students come up to me and say, Dr. Reed, I want to talk to you about the culture war, the DEI war, the vaccine war, the research war. I don't hear students come up to me to talk about that. They say, I want to talk to you about affordability. I want to talk to you about how I need to work and stop out to pay for this course and why I really, really need to graduate. I want to talk to you about my family's background and how many people are counting on me to make a difference. I want to talk to you about research. I want to talk to you about internships. I want to talk to you about how we can get a career service center that allows us to get early opportunities in apprenticeship and internship so we can connect early with business and industry. I want to talk to you about the student voice and whether or not we are being heard. That is what students are talking to me about and probably what they're talking to you about as well. When they talk about affordability, I know the power of your work. Think about 71% who are concerned about cost, and think about what you do in this room and beyond to address that issue. So more students are success ready on day one because they have access to the materials because of the direct work that you do. It's powerful and it's important, and I encourage you to keep doing it. Now, I can be a little Pollyanna, you know, I'm rah-rah, that's my job, right? I'm an advocate. I tell people you gotta be evangelical about this work. You have to love this work. You have to love this work. You have to bring your own positive energy to the game. That's my observation, because it's hard work. The work is hard. It's moving sands. People are concerned about fill in the blank, everything that you can imagine. But it's not just hard work, it's heart work. We love what we do. That's why we're engaged in this work. That's why someone who in 7th grade said, I want to be a teacher, is still doing this work, a dream realized. This is hard work for us. We care deeply about the work that we do and our students and how to move people from poverty to prosperity. I'm passionate about the work, and I talk about it everywhere I go, not just because it's sound bites that make a difference, but because it is my family's lived experience. I know that we can and we do move people from poverty to prosperity. Look at my own dad. Grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, lived in Booker T. Washington Housing Project. College was his way out. He and my mom raised a college graduate. My husband and I raised a college graduate. College graduates raise future college graduates. Resource people raise resourced people. But what happens when you're a state with 50% households living in poverty and 50% of the people with a high school diploma or less? This much money, this much time, this much aspiration and opportunity. It's our job to find the path forward for those individuals, and that is the work that we proudly do. And that is why it's hard work for us, right? It is our calling. It is our commitment to do amazing work. That is how we move people to prosperity. And so we need more success stories across this country. You have to keep telling your stories. We have to keep amplifying your stories. When students are successful, we need to ask why, and we need to replicate it. When students are not successful, we need to ask why, and we need to fix it. That is the work that we must continue to do. No blame game, all about continuous improvement. It builds trust, it builds understanding about the work that we do, and that builds support. And we need support for the work that we do each and every day, whether you're on the blue team or the red team. I need you to be in the middle, purple, focused in supporting our work and our people. So I mentioned we started 44% educational attainment and a big plan and a lot of challenges. Where are we today? 52.5% educational attainment in Louisiana, yes. And for the first time, we are now predicted, if we stay on our same trend line, to exceed our 60% population goal, right? That is hard work. That is good stuff by a big team. I would give all the credit to our institutions, faculty, and staff, because the Board of Regents doesn't graduate one student. We do policy work, we do blocking and tackling, we do advocacy work. We talk to everybody and anybody about the importance of this work, but I don't graduate one student. So I have to give credit where credit is due to the faculty and staff and the leaders who are staying the course in this work, literally come hell or high water. Hurricane, storm, ice storm. We've even had fires. We used to think that was just a California thing, right? All of these things, global pandemic, staying the course, moving the work forward. We also know it's important to be able to message the celebration and the size of the work that we're doing. So we went back and looked since 2019 at how many completers we have graduated as a result of the important work that's happening in our state. 350,000 more completers. If you are a football fan, we have some of those in Louisiana. It's enough people to fill Tiger Stadium 3 times, right? Good stuff. Eyes on the horizon, good stuff, important work, good stuff. But I'm also recognizing that we have to talk about how we message in times of challenge. So we look to the biggest challenge that we have faced, Hurricane Katrina. 20 years since Hurricane Katrina, we recognized that in August. Resilient people in this room, resilient people in my state as well. So we mourned death and destruction. We marveled at the kindness of strangers who helped us to recover and rebuild. And we stand as a testimony that our darkest chapter was not our last chapter. And so in your states, regardless of the hardships or the challenges or the disasters, or in mine, we know that education is a lifeboat. And we can help people to literally weather any storm, pandemic, hurricane, fires, if they have the education and training that gives them access to the discretionary income that allows them to support themselves and their families, simple as that. And so when people say, what are you going to do about your educational attainment goal because there's a hurricane? We say, it's a recovery agenda. Educational attainment is a recovery agenda. It's a workforce agenda. It's an economic development agenda. It's an anti-crime agenda, right? That's what we do. That is what we do in education. And so we have to think about and message our work, because when our students thrive, we all thrive. So that is the work that we have to continue to do. We have to honor all pathways of credentials of value. We have to build relationships. We have to be open. And we have to ask that question, how open are we? We have to listen to critics. We have to build coalitions, open to new, bigger tents and more people. We have to be open to find common ground. We have to have our eyes on the horizon and build the future we want to see, not step into the future that is. That is our calling. So I do recognize that we are in uncertain times, and people ask me all the time, what do we do in uncertain times? What do we do about the challenges we face? How do we find the energy and the strength to move this work forward? And I always say the same thing. Don't borrow someone else's worry. In uncertain times, lean into what we're certain about. What are we certain about? We are certain that education and training is an option multiplier for people. We are certain that the work we do at optimal success helps people to move from poverty to prosperity. We're certain about that. We're certain that the legacy of OER and the work that happened foundationally with the Hewitt Foundation and a global community, we are certain that that is making education more affordable and better for students. We're certain about that. There is no question. We are certain that in our states, in our communities, and beyond, that if you want a safer community, a wealthier community, a healthier community, education is the path forward. There's no debate, no alternative facts. We are certain about that. And so when things are challenging, we have to lean into what we're certain about, certain that we're stronger together, certain that we can weather any storm and move this work forward. And that is important. But that bright future, the future that we build, will not happen without each and every one of you. You are critical to our success. Our work doesn't happen if your work doesn't happen. The questions that you ask about could we do it better? Could we do it bigger? Is there a way to make us smarter and stronger? The innovation, the creativity, the questions, the work that you do is critical to our success. And so I came, of course, today to say thank you. Thank you for your commitment, for your passion, for your purpose. Thank you for weathering the storm. Thank you for having your eyes on the horizon and being open to important work. And thank you for allowing me to speak today. I appreciate it. So I'm standing here because I'm told that there may be a question or two in the room. And so if anyone has a question, I'm happy to try to answer those before I have to head out. Yes, back here.
Thank you so much. Rebel Cummings-Sauls from Porter Virtual Campus. I wanted to ask you your why. Why are you involved? Why did you come here today? And why are you still driving this message?
Oh, thank you for that. So I come from a family of educators. And so for me, my why is always about how do I continue that legacy of opening doors and providing opportunity for more people. I grew up in a household where it was never a question about whether I would make a difference. It was a question of what kind of difference I would make. That was the expectation in my household. And so the why for me is how do I, why am I in this space, and how do I make it better in an impactful way for people? I'm here today because obviously you all are an important audience for our work. I had some conflicts in the past. The Lewis team has kept me posted on this, and I had some really conflicts in the past that didn't allow me to come. But when I knew that I could be here, I wanted to be here. Anyone else? Yes?
Hi, I'm Kai White. I'm a student at community college in Oregon. Something that really struck me as difficult was you talking about building purple coalitions and groups. And my gut reaction is to refute that. But I want to hear more from you about that, because I'm confused. How do you work with people who don't want to work with us or who don't agree with the things that we are doing? There are people who are actively destroying the work that we're doing. How do we cross those bridges, if those bridges even exist?
Thank you for that. Always happy to have students in the room. I would tell you, I have the opportunity since I was 20-something to work at the state capitol in Louisiana. And so I've seen the changes and I've seen the similarities. Our work, I talk about Louisiana being all about red beans and relationships, right? So I talk to everyone and I say to my board, I think everyone's gettable. And I go before the legislature every year, Education Committee, Appropriations Committee, Finance Committee, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, and I talk with them about the work we're doing. And so I see purple opportunities because I have an opportunity to pass legislation that is bipartisan, right? So it is my lived experience to see how that works. Now, I may have to figure out for one group of individuals, how do I present the information in a way that allows them to be a part of it? Maybe they want to know more about workforce. Other people might want to know more about affordability. But if I can say, listen, this is going to work in both directions, and I need all of you to do this work because we're state supported, right? Our institutions need financial support. We need federal support and state support. And so I don't have the luxury of saying, I disagree with an individual, or I don't think that their position is going to soften. I have the responsibility on behalf of all of higher ed to talk to every single person and find a way to get legislation passed, get budgets passed, and move the work forward. That's the reality. And since you're a student, I will tell you what one of my faculty said when I was a student long ago. And it's been a long time, but I still remember it. I said to one of my faculty members, I think I want to work in policy, and I think I want to work in the Capitol one day. And he said to me, well, I want to make sure you remember, Kim, that your party affiliation is incumbent. You work with the people in front of you, not the people you wish were in front of you, right? And I'm 60. So that's a long time ago when he said that to me, but it is as true today as it was then. We work with the people in front of us, not the people we wish were in front of us, and we have to find a path forward. Are y'all clapping because I made 60? Are we good?
We have one more question for Marianne.
Oh, a virtual question.
Just getting the mic.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. So one online question we got is, what is a great way to advocate for OER in a purple way?
Oh, good. So I do think that we have to talk about it both in terms of affordability and in terms of efficiency, right? So anytime I think we're thinking about purple politics, we're thinking about what are the things that people care about in the Capitol on both sides, and then how do we drive that into the middle? And so obviously your state's conversations may be different. Our conversation in our state, the purple door, the most purple door in our state is the workforce door. And thinking about that and talking about that, not just from our community colleges, but our four-year institutions, and this idea that we are going to help more people have access to their credentials that have utility, value in the marketplace. And so that is the conversation in our state. And so thinking about how do we make it more affordable? How do we make it more accessible? How do we make sure that more people are successful? That is a way, I think, that we can talk about OER as a value add. But, you know, it speaks for itself. But it won't speak for itself if we don't speak about it, if we don't share the numbers, if we don't talk about the successes. That's the work that we have to do. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Reed, for those inspiring remarks and for reminding us how leadership grounded in access, affordability, and student success can transform entire systems. Let's give her one more round of applause for joining today, please. All right, so that's it for our afternoon plenary, but before I officially dismiss you, I just wanted to give a few additional housekeeping items. So first and foremost, we encourage you to please take some time before the end of the conference to visit our sponsor tables.